I want to talk very quickly about something that someone said this morning. I was watching a video by the New Culture Forum, and Peter Whittle, the video was called State of Emergency, and I think that's a very, very good description of where the UK is at the minute. I think we're in a very, very dangerous place at the moment for all sorts of reasons. Not least because, well, in fact, I'll give you the three reasons. And these three reasons, the thread of these three reasons will run right the way through this video. There are basically the globalists, and these are the elitists, the mono party, as it's been called, the Labour and Conservative mono party that have no difference in their policies. They are run by globalists. The people who are in them care more about what's happening in Davos, what's happening in the World Economic Forum, what's happening in the United Nations, what's happening in the EU, than they do about the sovereignty and the British people even. They're the globalists. They're the head cases that have been allowed to run our country for at least the last 20 years since Liar Blair came to power and all his minions. And of course, Major was of the same ilk as well. Putting that aside, the globalists are the enemies of the people. It's as simple as that. Then we have the Islamists. And the Islamists' aim is very simple. They want to take over the United Kingdom and turn it into a Sharia shithole. It's as simple as that. That's what they want. They want us to be like Iran, Afghanistan, Baghdad. Any of these other places that have been completely destroyed by Islamists. That's what their agenda is. They want you and me to live under Sharia law. And then finally, the communists. And I'm calling them communists because you've got to lump them all together. These are the cultural Marxists. These are the identity politics people, the people that want to split us up into sexual identity, racial identity, religious identity, any other identity they can find. They want to split us up into small groups, and they want to do it purely and simply to turn us against each other and to control us. So those three, they're the three threats to our country. The globalists, that's these elites in the media, in the military, in the police, in the government, in the civil service, in the education system, more importantly. And of course, we can say exactly the same with the globalists and the Islamists. They're all infiltrating the institutions. Look at how many Islamists there are in politics and in the government. And look at that a few weeks ago. An Islamist was actually advising the police in the headquarters of the Metropolitan Police, giving his analysis of what jihad meant. And I've never seen an exercise in gaslighting anything like it in my life as what's happened these last few weeks with these horrendous marches that, in my mind, should be banned, not because I believe in banning marches, but because I believe in banning the message of their marches. Because their marches are marches to denigrate and despise the Jewish people in the United Kingdom. That's what it's about. It's to intimidate. But that's another story, and that's for another video. But those three blocks, the Islamists, the globalists, and the communists, they have an agenda. And the agenda, first of all, they want to control us, they want to take away our freedoms, and they want to make us their slaves. But first, they must take away our freedom of speech. And what Peter Whittle said in this video that I watched was, he talked about the silenced majority. And that's what we are. We are the silenced majority. Not the silent majority, that's something totally different. The silent majority are people who are too weak, too scared, too lazy, too cowardly, too busy to tell the truth about what they know is happening. I've no time for the silent majority, because the silent majority need to grow a pair and start speaking up. I'm talking about the silenced majority. And that's those of us who have stood up, who have taken the bull by the horns and have been talking about this stuff for years. I think I first spoke about the dangers of radical Islam publicly in 1998. That's how long ago it was. So, and obviously, loads of other people have been doing this for many, many years as well. But we are being silenced because nobody in authority wants us to have a voice, because they know what we're saying is true. They know that we're on the right side of history and they're not. And that's why they're trying to silence us and take away our voice. But there's one man in all of this. There's one man who represents the silenced majority, not just in the UK, but possibly throughout the world. And that man is Tommy Robinson. And And of course, we know what's happening at the minute. Tommy is, well, he got his Twitter platform back. Brilliant. You know, he's got sort of, I think, over 350,000 followers on Twitter. So he's got a big audience there. He's got lots of other of the smaller social media platforms, things going on there. He's got thousands watching him on Telegram. And even with all the efforts that the social media platforms made to silence him, he still had a voice, and people were still asking about what's happened to Tommy. Where's Tommy? Because obviously people aren't aware that this censorship is going on. Because most people don't understand how sinister and malevolent our state has got, and the social media companies, the powers that be, the big tech, all of these people are part of this cabal of communists, globalists, and Islamists. And Tommy is, or should be, the figurehead of this movement. Tommy should be, when somebody thinks about someone that's standing up for the silenced majority, that man, the only man that comes to my mind is Tommy, because he's paid more. He has paid more financially, physically, in terms of going to prison, in terms of being under threat, in terms of the psychological torture and pressure that the state has put him under. He has suffered more than possibly anyone that I know. And to me, we must separate Tommy Robinson, the person, from the persona, from the myth that is Tommy Robinson. And we must look to the persona, not the person. And that's not in any way denigrating him as a person, because I know him. I think I know him well enough now. I've been friends with him for many years, and I know his personality, I know his generosity, I know his kindness, I know him as a person. But we've got to separate that to protect him and his family from the myth and the persona and the idea that is Tommy Robinson. Because Tommy, as much as being a person with his real name and all the rest of it, the idea of Tommy Robinson is something that all people who love freedom, all people who have been silenced, in fact, the whole British working class, and not just the working class, the middle class who are awake, because the problem is a lot of middle class people don't want to deal with this stuff because it threatens their livelihoods, it threatens their jobs. If you're a teacher, if you're in the police, if you're, suppose, in the military, the civil service, you really can't get involved in this. If you're in education, you can't get involved in this because you know it'll cost you everything. So you stay silent. You're part of the silent majority because you're too cowardly, you're too worried about your career. But the silenced majority, the people who really care about this stuff and really speak out about this stuff, Tommy is the figurehead, and he is the face of the silenced majority. And because of that, his personal life and his persona must be protected from these vile people that would attack him, would demonize him. They've financially ruined him. They've tried to ruin his family. I'm not going to go into it. We all know the insidious stuff that certain organisations, what's it called? Hate Without Hope, something like that, have tried to do to him. And of course, remember that what these groups like Hate Without Hope should remember is that people who live in glass houses should not throw stones. And there's plenty of skeletons in their closets going back to Searchlight days, going back to anti-fascist action, and some of the groups that were associated with anti-fascist action. Red Action, for example. There's a lot of skeletons in the closet for groups like Hate Without Hope. And nobody has a totally clean skin. No man alive. What does the Bible say? We've all sinned. So these people that go after Tommy must realise that they have a lot of things that could be exposed in their lives as well. So they just need to be a little bit careful. Anyway, just a little bit of a Saturday afternoon rant, and I'll see you all soon.